Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little while, but I have another quick gameplay. I say quick, it's a little bit of a longer gameplay, but just one this time. I've been making some tweaks with Nate's suggestions. We've been back and forth a little bit on this Breya list. This is an older version of the list. I played this game a little while back, but it was a really cool one against the boogeyman of the format, Baral, played by Locky. So I was definitely on edge this game. All right, so this was back when I had the hide and seek tech in the deck. So I see this opening hand, no lands, so this doesn't count as a first land. So definitely gonna ship it back. If if this talisman was probably a fetch land, I might have kept this on the hope that I can get the Seek off in response to Baral before stuff gets cheaper, and I can just take Emrakul out of the deck and win the game. That said, because I don't have that option, I'm definitely going to push this back. See a far superior second hand. I have two of the many answers in the deck for Baral or an Emrakul in play. I have the Abyss, and I have Jace the Mind Sculptor, both of which are non-instant spells that effects can target Emrakul. So definitely going to keep this hand. Little rough. I'm playing a Tectonic Edge because I do not own a Wasteland on MTGO. Maybe I'll get lucky enough to open one up in one of the treasure chests at some point, but until then, playing this Tectonic Edge, guys. See Dimir Signet on top, and I'm going to keep that. Definitely worth including because that gets me to Jace and the Abyss mana if I don't find another land drop. Alright, so I'm going to lead on the fetch land, keep myself from getting wasted, push Strip Mine out, or City of Brass out, not Strip Mine. Wow, that's removed from this format now. And I could push the Dimir Signet out, but I really don't want to get Force Spiked, and I really don't want to get Force Spiked and then have Baral resolve when I don't have counter magic, or be able to play Jace or the Abyss the following turn. So I'm just going to sit on the evasive action here. Alright, so I pick up Enlightened Tutors. Now, so I could play Dimir Signet here and temporarily go fetch the Misty for Underground Sea, and tap Underground Sea and Tech Edge for Dimir Signet. Then I would have evasive action up if my opponent does nothing to interrupt, and if they do interrupt Dimir Signet, then I can use City of Brass or Enlightened Tutor. That might have been the better play, but I decide that I'm going to sit on evasive action plus Enlightened Tutor. My opponent's going to think twice, fine by me, and do nothing. So they have think twice in the yard, so I'm assuming they're planning to flash it back. So I'm going to Enlighten Tutor, and they let it resolve. I'll give you a sec to think about what I'm going to grab. Land tax. My opponent's, I am on the draw this game, or no, I'm on the play this game, but I know I'm going to miss a land drop here because I'm tutoring, so I might as well get a 1 mana spell that draws me 4 cards over the course of this game, because there's 4 basics in the deck currently. So I'm going to put the land tax down, and my opponent doesn't stop it. I definitely would have countered that if I was my opponent and I had the option to, because it's just such a house, and you're getting a 2-for-1 just by countering this, because I spent another card getting the land tax also. My opponent plays a land into the land tax as well. I'm going to fetch in response to Baral, just don't want to get stifled, or Trick Bind for 1 mana rather than 2 mana if they're going to do it. And I'm going to try to cast evasive action. I had the read correct. My opponent had the Force Spike. Fine by me. At least they're down to 1 mana with Baral in play. And I think for a sec, I could try to run out Jace or the Abyss here. My opponent has a 7-card hand. So I decide I'm going to push a Dimir Signet. I've got to assume that they've been sitting on counter magic in the hope to play Baral and protect it that turn. So I'm going to try to use this Cyclonic Rift that I got from my draw step to bait out the protection that's on Baral, making them think this is the removal spell. So if they use Rereave, which would tap them out in response, they get an Emrakul end of turn. I untap, slam the Abyss, pass the turn. Emrakul gets put into the graveyard by the Abyss, and then I'm in fantastic shape because they've destroyed their own Baral and they've lost Reweave. I don't want to really bounce Emrakul if I can avoid it. I'd rather use Jace to start going up as soon as I get him in play, or Brainstorming, because I can put the lands back in my deck with land tax and turn them into actual draw and then get them back as long as my opponent continues to play lands. Furthermore, if I bounce it, there's a chance that Lockheed's running the Baral deck that also plays High Tide. So that way when you get to, I believe it's 8 islands. No, it's 9 islands because you have to tap 1 to trigger it. 9 islands, you can High Tide and then hardcast Emrakul, and I'd rather it be back in the deck than in his hand. Alright, so I'm going to go for the Cyclonic Rift. My opponent's going to pay a 4 mana, excuse my phone, Jace's Ingenuity to draw 3, and then Mana Leak my Cyclonic Rift. Fine by me. He's going to loot away. So all I got to do now is hope they don't have Force. Gemstone Caverns, gone. Alright, land tax. I'm going to pick up the last island in the deck. Get a Gilded Drake off the top. And I'm going to try to slam the Abyss. It sticks. Oh, brutal. Alright, so Baral down. Mutavault. That's pretty good against the Abyss because they, actually... No, it's not, because this triggers and they have to select target before they can activate Mutavault. I lied. It doesn't work. But it is good against Edict effects. So I guess there's that. Get a Remand. So now I'm going to try to push Jason to play. My opponent is going to try to Gainsay. I'm going to cast Remand, but I'm going to Remand my own Jace, because Remand and Gainsay would just put it back, cycle Remand, and then they recast it on Jace. This effectively, like, they temporarily delay my Jace, but I get to draw a card off of it as well. I already have a control piece on the board, so I'm not really worried about Emrakul coming out. Pull from Tomorrow, discarding Emrakul, so that's draw X, discard a card. They draw 2, I believe, and then discarded 1. Alright, more lands for my opponent. I'm getting nothing. And I shouldn't have played this island here. That was a mistake. I immediately realized it was a mistake as soon as I played it. So I'm going to Tech Edge the Mutavault now, because I have the option. And I don't foresee myself needing a mana this turn. I'm going to get Jace down, and I'm going to Jace 3. And as soon as I Jaced, I realized I should have kept this island, knowing that I was going to try to find more. I could put it 2 down, use land tax, again, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if they play any land, I would have been able to, let's say I don't find a land, I'm at 5. I would have 1 open here. They have 6. I'm going to have a guaranteed land tax, which will get the island that I put back from Jace's Brainstorm and shuffle my library. So I get to shuffle away what I don't want. Unfortunately, I misplay and play the island out, trying to feign a counterspell that I don't have. So it's better to just not play the island because of the upside of Jace plus tax. So I'm hoping to find a bounce land at some point now, because then I can bounce one of my basics. They're going to fetch, and I'm going to stifle a fetch in response. Because I made the mistake on the land tax play, I'm going to temporarily take myself off of its effect. Pieces of the puzzle. Picking up, they revealed Reweave, or Repel as what they got off of it. Was that their only card? Wow, that's rough. I thought they got 2 off of it. Alright, I get Stoneforge Mystic that I put back. I'm going to dig some more. I'm going to put Foth back. I already have a draw effect in play, and I'm going to put one of the lands back. I'm going to keep the red land because I really want to get red-white in play, because I'm so heavy on blue. The other one was Varan Catacombs, so I would get black again, and I have 3 sources of black already. So I believe I get Plateau here. And now I'm going to Demonic Tutor. And they Spell Snare the DT. I should have probably led with Stoneforge Mystic. They probably would have countered that with the Spell Snare, unfortunately. Mystic down, and unfortunately the Abyss will kill it, because I am 1 short of being able to play Sword of Feast and Famine and equip. This gives Pro Black, and the Abyss targets, so if the creature has Pro Black, the Abyss cannot kill it. This also can only kill non-artifact creatures, so Breya and her birds are immune. Alright, the Abyss kills my Stoneforge. It's alright. It did what I needed, which was tutor for an additional win condition. I find the bounce land, thankfully. Alright, so unfortunately I'm stupid and I put it back again. Make a lot of misplays, but my opponent wasn't able to capitalize on that all this game. Like, I could have put Diabolic Edict or Gilded Drake back on top with no big loss of value. Probably Gilded Drake. So then my opponent's going to Factor Fiction, and I give them Let me see if I can go through this slowly. Yeah, I give them this split, the lands plus Complicate or Emrakul Swansong. And I get the feeling that they want the lands because they're at 7. They might want them more to be able to play Baral and have this giant repeal for later in the game. But they might want this Emrakul because it has the Swansong. But shredding Emrakuls in the hand is much better than putting it. And they decided to put Emrakul in the graveyard with their Swansong. Good for me. I really didn't want them to have Swansong, basically, because it's a 1-mana counterspell for most of what I want to do. So they have to discard a card because they took the 3. Discard Island. It was not the island that I know about either. That's a misplay, people. If I know about your M15 art island, that's the one you should discard if you're going to discard an island. It's the reason that you want to play all the same art if you have the option to. So I'm going to dig again. And do I make the correct play? Yeah. All right. So I put back Fact or Fiction again. So I'm going to start with Breya. I feel confident this is going to make them spend their mana. And I want to get them as tapped out as I possibly can by now, at this point. Play a bounce land. Pick up a basic. Finally. Did I forget to use Jace? No, I used Jace. Okay. They're going to repeal Jace to my hand. Do I fight that? I think I'm going to try to fight that. I'm going to get Mystical Tutor. And, oh no, I guess I don't fight it. I get Mystical Tutor as a... Because they were tapped out, that was probably the best time to resolve this the first time. And now I have Mystical Tutor open to go get something if I so choose. Unfortunately, I forget that they have Complicate, so I guess I can make this play to get Complicate out of their hand. I take a damage and cast Mystical Tutor. It does make them pay 3 mana and cycle this away. So I guess there's that. Knowing that I have the Winter Orb, guess that's a good play. I pick up Counterspell off the top, which is a fantastic draw. Because I did get to shuffle away the two things that I put back with Jace when I used Mystical Teachings. So I'm going to put Jace back down and hope this draws out more counters. It does. I'm going to try to really bait them here and put a counterspell out on top of their Memory Lapse. And here comes a Swansong that they got off the top. All right. But then I think about it. That's actually pretty good for me. That is a sortable creature. Jace on top. Let's start with Winter Orb. All right, fantastic. Let's go with Sword. Let me untap all of my lands as soon as I get a combat step. Absolutely brutal. They try to snap, and unfortunately, this would untap lands for them as well. So I'm going to spend Diabolic Edict targeting myself to destroy my bird. But this means snap gets countered by a state-based action. It's very interesting art. And they do not get to untap any lands. So I'm just going to play this game underneath this orb. Because my deck's set up to it. I have 2 mana artifacts. I have a double land. They're playing 1 land at a time. I get Jace, and I immediately start going up. Do I put that top or bottom there? I move that to the bottom. I don't remember what it was. I'm prioritizing gas cards and lands are what I don't want them to have. Anything that they can't cast the following turn is okay in my book. So to land, I get Polluted Delta. I see a Thwart. I decide to put that on the top, mostly because it bounces a bunch of lands. It gives them more land drops, but I know I'm firmly outside of the land tax range by this point, so I'm okay with them spending mana to thwart if they so choose. So they're going to remove Soul Breya. All right, that's fine. It pushes 2 more mana underneath their thing. I spent 4 of my lands. They spent 2 of their lands, but I get artifacts every turn. So I'm okay with continuously forcing their mana down. And I keep getting things. I see Treachery on top, and I think I pushed that. I might have pushed that to the top and kept it there. I don't remember, actually. So I'm going to fetch for a Scrubland, and I'm going to Impulse off my mana artifacts. I pick up Crucible of Worlds here. It's possible I should have just picked up a land. I see Ponder. I believe I let them have that. They're going to Capsize without buyback on Winter Orb. I'm going to cast Factor Fiction in response using the colorless mana. I have 2 mana open, so basically any 2 mana counter, and I can win the game. Deprive, Demir Charm, Deprive will do it, so I just take any pile that has Deprive in it. They give me a land plus Deprive. I take that absolutely. Deprive, bouncing, I had one floating. Bouncing an island, so I might be able to put myself back on the tax plan potentially. But they scoop in response. And this is how you take down control without really attacking the mana. My opponent was trapped between a rock and a hard place from my starting hand, even though they didn't know it. Because I have two of the answers to Emrakul that are permanents in play, and they're blue. They have very few ways to interact with planeswalkers and enchantments. They basically have to use bounce spells on them and counter them on the way back down. So many of their resources need to be devoted to acknowledging that the Abyss will kill them and prevent them from winning in any way, because they'll never have an Emrakul with haste or that can attack the turn that it comes down without going through their upkeep, because the decks don't play any haste effects. So the Abyss will always kill Emrakul at the start of their turns. And Jace, they might be able to bounce, they might be able to count them on the way back down, but then I have the Abyss. And if they do deal with the Abyss, then I have the Jace. So naturally, Jace is actually the worst one, because they can use instant speed, reweave Baral in my end step, get Emrakul, get an attack in. But my permanent count is so high at this point, I can take one hit from Emrakul for sure, keep the Jace around, and then bounce Emrakul back to their hand. Because Jace's sorcery speed, doesn't kill it on their turn, they can do things on my end step, and Jace can't stop it. But the Abyss will always stop it. It's possible they should have prioritized this over Jace, but I think they felt that Jace was going to get me too much value if they didn't try to stop it. Definitely a fantastic game against Locky and against one of the boogeyman decks of the format. I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did as well. If you had noticed any misplays that I made other than the ones that I talked about, don't forget to point them out in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video to anyone you think might enjoy my content. And let me know in the comments what you want to see next. I'm working on putting together another league as soon as I have some time off. I've also added my Twitter to my channel. So if you go to my channel, in the top right corner, there'll be of my banner, the Zendikar land art. There'll be a link to my Twitter. Fair warning, it's just mostly shit posting, and sometimes I talk about Magic. I think it's Untap Land Go, or Untap Land Pass is my handle. So it's just gaming stuff. I talk about a lot of Overwatch on there, or try to tweet at Overwatch and complain about whatever thing that I did badly in the game. All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video. I'll see you all in the next one, and thanks for watching.